I've owned my McDonald's touchscreen table for quite some time. But what else could I possibly do with a big old touchscreen? Well, why not turn it into the world's largest Nintendo DS? And by doing this, I'm not only setting out to put my roommates through the most ultimate gaming DS gauntlet, I'm hoping to also get noticed by one of my favorite gimmick Twitter accounts, HugeNintendoDS. Let me show you how this all went down. Hey, so before we get started, quick announcement. Today's sponsor is me. I'm the sponsor. I'm the one sponsoring this video. It's me. So take it away, announcer guy.
That's right. This Sunday, July 24th at 1 p.m. CST, you'll be able to pick up your very own Spiritomb hologram. All you need to do is visit Big Rig Creates' Etsy page by going to bigrigcreates.com. That's bigrigcreates.com this Sunday.
So I'm not gonna lie, I think it was actually a TikTok comment that got me started on this project. So shout out to this account. But regardless, after reading this, it did get me thinking about a gimmick Twitter account that I follow. HugeNintendoDS posts pictures and videos of both real and Photoshop big Nintendo DSs. For what reason? I really don't know. But I and so many others find it pretty dang funny. But as I scrolled through it, I started to realize I could make the world's largest functional DS ever created, and make HugeNintendoDS proud.
One tweet later.
HugeDS never noticed. And I am sad. Well, I guess if you're interested, here's how I made it. I split this project into two sides, the left-hand side and the right-hand side. For the right-hand side, I ordered some large buttons from AliExpress. And since I couldn't find any black buttons, I looked up some custom DS button swaps on the internet, and I was a fan of this piano look. So I went with that and ordered some white buttons. Now these buttons were so big that making a case to fit them in was a challenge. And my 3D printers are only so big, and no amount of protein powder or vegetables was going to make them any bigger. So I had to split the casing into quadrants like a personal pan pizzaroni, and that was just barely large enough for my print bed. It also had to be pretty dang tall because the entirety of the button mechanism was so dang tall. And then the R button had its own host of issues. I downloaded a CAD model of the DS's R button, expanded it to be super tall, and made a little cavern where it rested on top of a micro switch. And then for the hinge mechanism, I just kind of hammered a nail into the plastic. And with a bit of super glue, it became kind of a crude solution, but it works. Then for start and select, I used some standard arcade buttons, glued them to their own little housing, and slapped them on the bottom. For the graphics, I did some research by looking into, of all places, the Nintendo DS Internet Browser booklet, just to find the font. And after sizing up the letters, it seemed to match the font used for the buttons as well. So I printed out some stickers, used a bit of force to take apart the buttons, and it all came together looking pretty good. Then to connect all the buttons together, I dissected this USB joystick and hooked everything up to it. Now for the left hand, I had to learn how a D-pad actually works. After studying some videos on the internet and stealing this D-pad design, I asked the controller modding legend Super Lewis64 for some guidance. And he approved of my really silly idea while also pointing me to another cheap generic board I could hook everything up into. So this is how it works. I first insert this D-pad plastic piece with a flat bottom, attach these 4 platforms with switches stuck to them, and now the D-pad sits on top of all 4 switches.
Oh hey, I forgot the L button.
Well, time to carve out a space for it by hand. This definitely wasn't a pain in the bottom screen is the last thing I have to worry about here. So I bought this stylus. And it doesn't work. Turns out what my touchscreen needs is a large enough point that conducts enough electricity. So your run-of-the-mill stylus won't work. I then bought this thick boy stylus, but there still wasn't enough conductivity coming from my hands. So I wrapped the big chungus stylus in tinfoil, and that actually worked. Now all I had to do was print off a DS-style stylus scaled to house my aluminum-coated stylus. Why did I write it that way? And I included a space to put a finger into to conduct some electricity to the tip of the stylus. And hey look, everything is finally done. Now if you've enjoyed seeing the creation of the world's biggest DS, you might want to hit subscribe, because I'm currently working on making the world's smallest, fully functional Dance Dance Revolution cabinet. But for the hardware of this DS project, I had to keep things a bit more simplistic. Unfortunately, I'm not talented enough to make this run off actual DS hardware.
So it's time for emulation, baby!
I first tried using the mini PC that runs the McTable, but that was just not strong enough for DS emulation. So that leads me to introduce you to this monstrosity. I call this Frankenstein's machine. Or Frank for short. It's a cobbled mess of old PC parts put together in a very, well, jank way to put it nicely. I tried running this on D-Smoomy, however you pronounce that.
But it plus Windows just wasn't working. I'm not gonna get into it, but it didn't work.
So I switched to Linux. And to get things working how I wanted, D-Sume or however you pronounce it, for every second it would just rotate. Linux just really freezing and working any of the basic options correctly, so... Oh hey, I got it working. So, funny thing about this setup, I actually needed a third screen for the sole purpose of hiding the menu bar. And trust me, that was the best solution I could come up with. But now the only thing I had to do was route the two controllers into keyboard inputs, and the keyboard inputs back into DS controller inputs. And after I route my touch interface to the correct screen, we're good to go. And DS gaming works flawlessly. Using the controller is super comfortable. And the touchscreen is smooth and seamless, not clunky whatsoever. I even got microphone functionality to work as well. Financial burden. And thankfully, Frank has enough horsepower to scale up the graphics to 5 times the original resolution. And I have actually never played DS games that look this good. And of course, the first thing I had to try was the McDonald's ECDP, or the E-Crew Development Program. If you haven't seen this before on YouTube channels like the Retro Future, it's a Nintendo DS cartridge made to train new employees in Japan. Obviously, the perfect fit for this project. But enough talk. It's time to put this system to the test. I challenged my roommates to a gauntlet of 3 games. Think of it like the Nintendo World Championship competition. But instead of a gold cartridge or a trophy, the winner gets McDonald's on me. Obviously, the stakes are high. All 3 of these challenges will be timed, and the roommate with the best aggregate time is the champion. First game is touch control focused, and it's the McDonald's training software. The competitors will need to successfully make some crispy golden fries. Challenge 2 is button focused. They'll need to navigate the slide in Mario 64 DS and collect the star at the end. The final challenge uses both the touchscreen and buttons. It's a wildcard game that I'll reveal to you when I reveal it to my roommates as well. First off, we had Reed.
The burp register on there pretty good.
And he was more than ecstatic to start playing the McDonald's training software.
Oh no. Do I have to? Is this just Cookie Mama but McDonald's?
Yes.
Oh.
Self-study?
I'm gonna self-reflect on my life choices that got me here.
And as I guided Reed through the menus, I said something I would come to regret.
Don't push too hard, but yeah, do push hard. French fries. Time starts when you press start. Go.
What am I doing though?
Right that.
Okay. Where else do I go? Oh, I just have to keep filling them?
Yeah. Take one.
Yeah, they don't give you any instructions.
No, because you're supposed to study beforehand, Reed.
Yeah, but I didn't because you didn't let me.
Perfect. You're doing great.
I don't feel like I'm doing anything. No, 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 get out of there! Don't make me do it again!
And while Reed was struggling to understand how deep frying things worked, he started to use a bit more force as he struggled with the game's less than stellar controls.
I think the key is just, oh no.
That's fine. Keep going.
Despite that, he persevered while trying to figure out how to make an M shape with the salt shaker.
What? Why is this the most complex touchscreen game I've ever seen on a DS?
And then, tragedy struck.
Oh.
You have more customers.
I don't need the rest of that.
As he finished with what only can be described as a mini Cuban cigar in his hand, I went to go patch things up.
I see that part's about to snap.
No. Well, then we can treat it as well.
It's gonna snap like Thanos.
Good one.
With Reed finishing with a respectable 3 minutes and 55 seconds, we moved on to our next game.
Not Mario Party. Okay, thank God. I thought it was Mario Party DS for a second. I got scared there.
I recommend going up the stairs and then to the right.
In the lobby, Reed took a little bit of time to get adjusted to the controls.
I already hate playing on a D-pad, even on a good controller, but on this it's even worse. Oh, there's the Wario double door. Dubbed so big that Wario had to come out of the W door. Oh my God.
No, don't go in that door.
You said to the right!
Yeah, there's a painting.
Oh yeah, okay, see, like, I haven't played DS, so I don't really recognize, like, the layout difference.
But it seemed like the slide wasn't too much of a challenge for him.
At least the buttons are, like, hard responsive. Steering's pretty good.
And just took a little bit of time to get that star.
And time.
And with that, he adds 1 minute and 51 seconds to his total runtime, but Reed wasn't quite done yet.
Well,
Alright, how do you do Bob on Battlefield? I can do Bob on Battlefield.
For fun? Alright, go for it. It's really hard because of the triggers. Are you going for King Babam or are you going for Chain Chomp?
I should probably go for Chain Chomp, right? That would be a lot quicker. What's the ground pound button?
R.
Oh, never mind. I'm going for Bob-omb.
You're in for a surprise when you see King Babam. I'm not going to tell you what it is though.
Okay. What's wrong with him? He's the same to me. Oh! He throws his children! Yeah, no, I'm not winning this.
Anyways, with that pointless endeavor out of the way, we move on to our final game.
Oh, Drawn to Life, okay.
It's Drawn to Life, the sequel. A vibrant and colorful platformer filled with a bunch of cute characters, in which, spoiler alert, takes place within the mind of a child currently going through a coma after suffering a traumatic car accident. Rated E for everyone! Anyways, it uses both the touchscreen and buttons, so I thought it'd be the best game. Also, I made this creepy Ronald McDonald as the avatar character.
I don't like what they did to Ronald.
What I did to Ronald?
I don't want to look at him. He's scary. Can I clear the profile? Will I get rid of him?
Now, along with the challenge of platforming through this game, I also added some extra artistic challenges.
Alright, touch it. You need to make a burger.
No.
You need 2 buns, lettuce, a tomato, and a patty.
That to draw it in this little square?
Yep, in a little square.
2 buns, the lettuce.
This is what you're going to be surfing on, by the way.
Oh, sweet! You know what? That's a burger.
That's a burger.
Reed quickly drew his deconstructed burger, surfed on it in this auto-scrolling section,
How long does this last? My arms hurt.
and made his way to the actual platforming.
This is for a free meal, Reed. You gotta get speedy.
Do I really want to win a free meal at McDonald's? I know Dylan wants it more than I do. He eats there by choice on a regular basis.
He made it through the first platforming section with relative ease, but now his next challenge was to make a McNugget with eyes and a smiley face.
Done!
After rolling his friend down the hill and jumping off it as a platform,
Is he just an object to abuse there?
he just needed to make it through the final section. Reed was focused on the goal, so he sacrificed his second McNugget, sped his way through the final platforms, and made his way up to the rainbow bottle to finish the gauntlet. After tallying up all 3 times, Reed finished in 10 minutes and 37 seconds. But now it was time for my other roommate, Dylan, to step up to the plate.
This is the Mario Kart I've played the most by a magnitude of like 100.
Well, guess what?
So you're not playing it.
Oh.
Now, for a brief stint in his life, Dylan was actually a manager of a McDonald's restaurant, so I was curious how he'd react to this.
Oh man. Oh, this thing? I never did this. This is probably honestly was way better.
Yeah.
Oh, the music is incredible.
Go!
Oh my god. Is it an any percent run or is it a 100% run?
It's get to the end of this level. That is the goal. It's a gauntlet.
Now, in the beginning, Dylan was definitely struggling, but at least he had a McDonald's story to share with us.
Like very early on, like I'm talking probably my first like month, I pulled one of these out and branded my arm with the hot. So this is a lot safer of a training method. Oh my god.
Go quick.
And although I thought he was going pretty slow, he saved a lot of time by not breaking the DS stylus. And Dylan actually ended up shaving 26 seconds off Reed's time. But now we need to move on to Mario 64.
Oh, I know this one. Okay.
To start out, he was having quite a few of the same
There's a
control
run button in
issues.
this game because it's on the DS. I think you press L.
And despite a couple of difficulties in the lobby, he was actually figuring out the controls a little bit faster than Reed.
Mamma mia. More right. Oh yeah.
And that gave him the edge because he made it down the slide in about the same amount of time.
B. I gotta pick it up. Time?
Time!
And after collecting the star, he was actually beating Reed by 45 seconds going into Drawn to Life, the second chapter. All he had to do to clutch out this win was play the best McDonald's DS of his life. Unfortunately, to start things off, he lost a bit of time because he decided to make a less minimalistic burger. He also made it through the auto-scrolling surfing level without too much of a hitch, and it was on to the platforming. In the first section, there were definitely some parts where he struggled.
What are you feeling as you go through this right now?
Stressed. Humbled. Naked. Why am I naked?
And when it was time to make the nugget, it was a interesting looking nugget. And after losing some time not knowing what to do with the nugget, it all came down neck and neck to the final platforming section. And as he pushed his second McNugget into the ocean, his paternal instincts kicked in, and this led to a bit of bonus spelunking. But at the end of the day, this is a race, not a treasure hunt. As he made his way out of the sea and finally touched the final bottle, it was time to tally up the time. And when everything was tallied up, Reed was the winner by just over 30 seconds. And he was so excited to receive his prize.
Yay! Did I really win?
So, what'd you get, buddy?
I got 10-piece chicken McNuggets, you know, like a child. I also got a slushie, which I'm very excited for.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Do you think they were trained on the DS like you are?
Of course.
When we got back home, in a almost poetic way, the audio quality dropped to the level of a DS microphone. You don't need to overact for me, Reed.
Well, why?
But I was still able to capture Reed's beautiful one-sentence review on the Minute Maid Lemonade Slushie to close out the video.
I think it's generous to call this a slushie.